much, everyone, for continuing to watch our amazing conference today. We are so excited to be able to bring the experts of our industry to you. And our next speaker happens to be a dear friend, someone that I admire a lot. And Hassan has taken the time to be with us here today. So Hassan, tell me a bit about yourself and how you got introduced to the world of SEO.
All right. So yeah, my name is Hassan. What I do mainly now is I run an SEO agency. That's our focus. We do other things basically, but our flagship service is SEO. We've been doing it for about 4 years. But before that, I was, an affiliate myself. I was building websites, not doing paid traffic or anything like that, but I was mostly just doing it through SEO for so many years. I mean, it's about 16 years now that I've been, building websites, making money through affiliate marketing and AdSense pretty much. That was how we got started.
That's awesome. We do have a lot of affiliates that are watching that, don't do paid traffic. So it was important to bring someone that actually understands. So, all right. I got some questions from, affiliates and the team. So I'll go through them. What is something about SEO that you think the world should know?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, most people, especially now, if you look at 2021, everybody's kind of like follows the trend. So if you look at 2015 and beyond, it was Facebook ads, a little bit like before that, but it got bigger with the introduction of e-commerce. And so people kind of just forget about the thing that used to be pretty much the main thing in the late 2000s was basically just SEO. Anybody who's doing internet marketing or making money online was, building a website or driving traffic through SEO. What you should know now is that SEO is not dead, like a lot of people would have, like to claim. It's still alive and kicking. It's pretty much one of the best, traffic sources out there that anybody or any big company, even established companies, should invest into. It's basically something that it doesn't make a lot of sense at first because you have to like invest in it and then wait, which is a little bit weird for a lot of people. It's like, oh, if I put money in this, I have to be able to track results and stuff. This one is a little bit tricky, but it does pay off big time, especially after a year, after 9 months. It could be a little bit longer, it could be a bit less, but it's actually a really, really good traffic source that a lot of people should pay attention to. It is very enigmatic and tricky for a lot of people to understand, but it's worth it. And the living proof of that is me being involved in it for some years and being able to make so much money from it, and then just like switch into pretty much an agency side because a lot of people don't understand it but need to know it. So that's like how we make our living right now, by helping these big companies bring that traffic that is really, really profitable.
Well, that's so awesome, and I'm glad you shared that, because one of the reasons that I wanted you to come on today, we have wonderful speakers that are they have been telling us about native and email today, but I see it from our experience and our offers that SEO and search affiliates are still doing a lot of money. So especially I wanted to bring someone like you that has been doing this for a long time and is making a lot of money from it, because end of the day we can be nice people, but we want to make a living and bring home money for our families from whatever we're doing. So SEO is not dead, it works. Well, how does data inform your SEO strategy? Because I know with native, it's data is always important.
Okay, so when you talk about data, what we do here is we have a lot of tools right now that we use to get data from. So we make a lot of informed decisions when it comes to building a specific page on a website, or building a whole website that you want to build around a specific offer, which is something I don't really encourage people to do. You don't want to build a whole website just about a single offer. You want to kind of like target a specific industry. So because what you're doing is building something that you're telling Google, look, this whole website, it's probably 100 articles or 200 articles or whatever. It's all about this specific subject. So you might actually have a lot. You're actually building a big kind of like net. So you're like, the bigger you make it, the bigger, like the more fish you can, catch with that net that you're building. So it doesn't make sense to build something huge, which takes a lot of time. especially which is true with SEO,
Yeah.
and just to catch like one fish. The truth, the nature of it is it makes a lot of sense to kind of target something that's big, something that an industry that has like all these offers coming in and going, and it in a lot of ways it can just basically just be an entry point to a lot of other ways of marketing. So you can basically build a blog that talks about a specific thing, and you can use that as an acquisition channel, the SEO as an acquisition channel, and then use email to capture the people who are interested in your offers, and then you can make that combination what I like to call a killer combination, because you do have an acquisition channel which is SEO, which is highly targeted. You're basically catch people in the act, like they're pretty warmed up to the idea of buying whatever or researching whatever, and then you kind of like put them into your email list, and then you can promote to them time and time again. And when it comes to data, I mean, there's tools like Ahrefs, SEMrush, Surfer SEO. There's so many that have a lot of information about how difficult a keyword can be, how easy is it going to be to rank for, how hard is it going to be to rank for. I mean, there's so much information out there, and our lives are a whole lot easier now than, let's say, 2013 or 2014, because in order to do one thing, we needed to do a lot of things manually, or resort to 3 or 4 different tools that were expensive. But now you can just have one SEMrush account or one Ahrefs account for $100 a month or $200 a month, and you have all these tools at your fingertips.
So repeat those again for me, because I know all about Perplexity and the spy tools that we use for native. So SEMrush is one. What was the other one that's good?
Ahrefs, Ahrefs.
So those you recommend as good tools that affiliates could use?
Yes.
Those are
for content optimization, we use Surfer SEO.
Mm-hmm.
That one kind of like so Ahrefs would give you, okay, so this is how many keywords you can target. But Surfer SEO would tell you, okay, so for this specific keyword, if you want to rank, this is what you need to put in your article, in your webpage. How many words, how many images. It goes into the details of what you need to put on that specific page in order to rank. So it makes it a lot easier for people to target the right keywords and have higher chances of ranking.
And that's Surfer SEO.
Yes.
Awesome. You see, we're gonna start doing search after this talk. I'll give it a try. All right. So tools are important. That's why I always make sure we tell affiliates, because we always have partners that want to give it a try, right? They've been doing email, and when you start, you're right. Tools are so helpful. I bet in 2015 you had to do so much of this stuff manually. So why not take advantage of it? And $300 a month, by comparison to the work you would have to put in to get there, it's a no-brainer. All right, let's see what we have next. What's the most important factor in an SEO campaign? Is it the headline? Is it the content?
So when you talk about an SEO campaign, that could be either adding a lot of new content to the existing website, or creating a whole website from scratch. So it's all about content strategy. The content strategy is what I just talked about. So what we do is we kind of identify the goals or the objectives of that specific website. So do you want to, let's say, sell sneakers, for instance? We want to sell Adidas or Nike, whatever, to a specific audience. Here we don't have to go into customer avatar or anything. We just go into Ahrefs or SEMrush and basically just research what people are already looking for. So we look at keyword data, like how many keywords or what keywords are people using, how much volume. Are we looking at 5,000 keywords, and each one is on average 500 searches per month or 10,000 searches per month? And then we try to take the low-hanging fruit. So the easiest ones, even if you have an established website, even if it's already ranking and getting traffic, we want to get the easier ones out. And then we take those ones and put them into Surfer SEO, so we can figure out how much kind of traffic how much content we need to put out in order to target those specific keywords. And that's pretty much it. You just build a content structure, as in, okay, so in order to target these, let's say 500 keywords, for instance, that are a little bit easy, we need to create 150 pieces of content, and each one should have this, and this. There's an outline. There's what kind of keywords to target. So that's pretty much the whole, the big picture that we follow. And then as soon as we work with right now we work with writers or editors, and we work with AI writing tools like Jarvis, or there's a lot of them are like popping up, but we don't just use them standalone. We have to use humans to edit that content that is produced by these AI writing tools. And what was that?
It's still saving you a lot of time,
No. I mean, instead of just having a regular writer pump out a good article, 1,500 or 2,000 words every 2 days, you get that same person using an AI tool to pump out maybe up to 4, maybe 6 articles per day that are going to be high quality, which means it's still a win. It's still a big win for us, because we are able to produce high quality content at scale. And then instead of it taking, back in the old days, it would have taken a year to come up with 150 pieces of content that are well researched, well structured, and all that stuff. Now it would take 2 months. And yeah, that's pretty much what we do.
That tool is Jarvis.
There's a lot of them out there right now, and so most of those tools are based off of not web. They're based off of GPT-3, which is an AI, system that some AI company built out of the US. So this AI is, you have to be licensed to get access to it. So there's Jarvis.ai, which is the main one that we use now. There's copy.ai. Copy.ai is also, it's not really for long form content. It's just for copywriting. You could use that AI tool to write Facebook ad headlines or Amazon ad headlines or product descriptions and stuff like that. But the Jarvis is most helpful when it comes to long form content, like 1,000-word, a 1,000-word article. There's a lot of them out there. If you just pretty much just Google AI writing tool, you'll find out ones. Some of them target just ad writing, creative people who are doing ads, and then ones that are targeting SEOs who want to help create long form content.
So helpful. I mean, every time I have a chat with one of our friends, I always learn something new. So you guys, I hope everyone is taking notes. All right. The other thing I wanted to ask you about, so with Facebook or native, we always have like algorithm changes or compliance changes. Are there any Google algorithm changes that we should be aware of, or our SEO affiliates that are watching should know something that you've noticed and you can share your wisdom on?
Well, Google is the OG of updates. They've been doing it for years now. I mean, we could talk about as early as 2011. That was one of the biggest and earliest ones. 2012. So they've been kind of like doing them almost between 2011 2014. Once a year, it was one big update. Now it's happening every couple of months. And they say that a lot of updates happen in the background. What I can say pretty much is they're very iffy about health or financial kind of content. So it's what they call your money, your life. So anything that has to do with your money, anything that has to do with your health, they're very, very strict about what kind of content they allow to rank on the first page. And here we're talking about which is kind of makes sense in a way, because if you just put out medical advice and you're not like a doctor, that can ultimately be life-threatening to people who are just going to follow some sort of a random advice on the internet, on Google. That's dangerous. That's a liability for Google. That's why they put out these walls against random medical advice and stuff. So you have to be very careful when you share anything that has to do with medical advice. And I mean, luckily, you've never really had, to build any blogs that are in the health space. It's usually always, tempting to do that, because you see there's all these offers, health-related offers and stuff. But then, it's just almost impossible to rank if you're not an actual, a certified doctor in any kind of field. and how they kind of interact that is by having, doctors actually like lay out their, certifications, their, all their, credentials in a space called author, kind of an author box.
It's such a good, that's a great point. And what I can share from what I've noticed, some of the top affiliates, the way they present the data, like on blogs, because we have some health offers, like they're not neutral, but they're health, like, it can be skin or back pain or nerve. So I've noticed the blogs, you're right, they never refer as medical advice, but it's kind of like, oh, this is something I tried. And, you make it personal, but you're right. It's so important not to, pretend to have medical advice out there, because then you're going to worry why your accounts are shut down, right?
Exactly. I mean, so when it comes to like not weightlifting, but like health, weight loss, anything that's just around the medical space, they're still very kind of strict about ranking it, because you have to
Same with Facebook or
yeah.
you're right. It's the same everywhere, and it's honestly, guys, it's supposed to be like this, right? As performance marketing, we would want everything to be simple, but as consumers, we need to understand like their job is to protect us too, right? I mean, I had huge brands like Vichy target me on Facebook telling me I'll have no wrinkles by tomorrow. I know are they allowed to do that? Probably not, but compliance is in place for a reason.
Exactly.
All right, a bit of education. What is a link audit? I heard about it last week and I wanted to ask you about it. What's a link audit?
Okay, so a link audit would be someone would take your website and kind of run a scan of it and then check your backlink profile or your link profile. So there's two kinds of links. There's outgoing links and there, ingoing links. Ingoing would be called backlinks from other websites that are pointing to you, and the outgoing links is things that you have on your blog that you're linking to Wikipedia or CNN or whatever. So that would be, and then you have internal links, like links between your pages of the same website. So a link audit would be somebody would scan and see if you have any kind of malicious type of like or spammy link from other websites. And they just tell you to remove this or remove that. And the thing is, it's so easy to do it now that you can just do it through SEMrush or Ahrefs. It does it automatically. You can run an audit on your website. It tells you all kinds of issues, including links, whether they're decent links, okay links, or if you need to remove them, or what we call a disavow tool. There's a disavow tool within Google Search Console, which is the Google Webmasters from the old days. It just tells you all the issues that are happening on your website, and then if you need to kind of remove any spammy looking links, suspicious links, and that's it. That's pretty much what it means.
Well, what I'm loving from your explanation is that we can, get an account like SEMrush and they can do a lot of the job for us. So that's pretty awesome. I did not know it's, as easy to do it.
Sometimes they do. It might seem like they kind of overdo it. They send you a crazy email saying warning, you have a toxic link, blah blah blah. And most of the time, it's just their AI kind of like working through the system. But in a lot of ways, you can tell by your own if there's a toxic link or whatever they call it. You can go and check if that website is spammy or anything. Just like get rid of it yourself. But they can kind of like overdo it sometimes.
And if you do all the changes and you do another audit, it's like it tells you if it's improving, right?
Yeah, of course. If you have it as a project inside the dashboard, it does an automatic audit every week sometimes.
Oh, very cool. All right. So as someone as successful as you, one of the affiliates asked, to make sure I get this out from you. What would you advise a typical affiliate that's working in a very competitive niche? For us with health and fitness and beauty, it's pretty competitive. So, what can they do to stand out?
Okay. I mean, so with SEO, there's two things. There's kind of pleasing the visitors and pleasing Google. But if you don't please Google, then you're not going to show up. They're not going to send you any traffic. So you have to kind of like do what they do as they say. And in a lot of ways, their advice is always kind of just cliche kind of advice, telling you things like, hey, just serve the user, have a better user experience, have a fast loading website, like just have a better user experience in general. They don't really go into a lot of specifics. They do if you're a nerd and you like to read a lot of their details. But there's a lot of blogs, a lot of YouTube videos out there that explain all the things that Google kind of considers as ranking factors. What we do, like, because we do have a lot of clients in our agency, and some of them operate in some very, very competitive niches, and they're even more competitive than health and fitness. And we're talking about travel or insurance. Travel is a very, very competitive. It's one of the most competitive niches, or insurance or real estate or anything like that. What do you do to stand out? What do you do to kind of, rank higher? That's why I always kind of lean back into the tools. I go and kind of do a health check, a technical SEO audit, and you do that either on Ahrefs or SEMrush. So it tells you all the issues that have to do with code, that have to do with like the basic optimizations on the website. So you make sure that's clean, that's good to go. Then you move on to the content structure. So you basically just say, okay, so I have 150, for example, articles that are up on the site. Some of them are ranking, some of them are not ranking. So you basically just do a competitive analysis between you and the people who are ranking on the first page. And that's what Surfer SEO kind of helps to do. You basically just look at why those people are number one, and why am I like on page 50 or page 3 or page 4. And it gives you the comparison between what you need to have on your pages, and what you need to add. Like, okay, these guys have on average 4 pages on that article. I only have 1 page image. You need to add, like more images. You need to add more words, more content, and stuff like that. So there's a lot of like details that they give you. So that's content and like a content structure. So we've done technical SEO, we've done content structure. We have what's left, which is the backlinks, or the backlink profile, like how many links. And that's still to this day the strongest